Your consciousness is sent back to when you were at age 15, and you maintain all of your current knowledge and experience. What do you do? Honestly, just the knowledge that lots of the shit 15-year-old me was agonizing over and worrying about ultimately didn't bring about the end of the world would help. I'd know which things to stress about and which ones I could let go of. Just know that eventually everyone's face is a blurred memory. It's so weird being just 10 years out of HS and realizing people I saw every single day for my whole life till graduation ceased to exist immediately. Not oh, I just don't worry about that dude anymore, we weren't that close. You literally forget they ever existed until you look at your yearbook or something. I'm 50, so much older, but I don't have problems with memory or anything. Well, as far as I know. Still, I was cleaning out my mom's house and found a local paper that had a picture of me and story about me winning an engineering competition and how well our team did overall. I literally cannot remember even being on the team, let alone winning that competition. I have racked my brain and I have no recollection at all. It's just gone. I apparently visited the Grand Canyon as a preteen on a family trip through the area. No memory whatsoever. I get it, it's ducking weird because that's something I would remember forever now. I love travel. My husband and I took our kids on some really amazing trips as they were growing. I have been very proud of helping my kids to be worldly and to see things I dreamt of seeing as a young adult in a small town. They're 30 now. We're packing to move, and had the kids over to get them to pick which of the billions of photos we took over the years they want to keep. We got to one of my sons swinging on vines on Pitcairn Island in the South Pacific. I've had a blow up of that photo in my office for years, as a reminder when I start thinking I was a bad mom that my kids have memories of amazing childhood experiences. I said to my son, "Remember this?" He said no. Was that at the bottom of the hill our house was on? My parents took us on a lot of expensive trips when I was young. We lived the rest of the year frugally as a trade-off. Though I don't remember many details, I feel like the trips did help mold me into the person I am today. Just as importantly, I knew these were places my parents loved, and that helped me understand them more as people later on. Buy up domain names and sell them after internet gets more mainstream. I remember reading that f.com sold to Facebook for about $7 million. Not bad. And Bitcoin. I would get all the Bitcoin. Buy Amazon stock. A lot of it. And then start a long-term friend zone relationship with Mackenzie Scott only to bide my time. In 2021, that's when I make my move to finally kick our relationship to the next level. I was in my freshman year of high school. I'd go back and relive those years being completely and totally myself like I should have done way back when. Don't date my first girlfriend. Try to maintain friendships while moving. Take college more seriously. Buy Bitcoin. Hug my grandparents more often. Take better care of my teeth. A million times yes. Knowing about acid erosion as well as tooth decay would save a lot of future pain and dentist bills. You know, gingivitis is the #1 cause of old tooth decay. Be single and lonely for a while. Holy shit, do I not want anything to do with most high schoolers. Yeah, a lot of people have remarked on the creep factor of being an adult in a kid's body dating kids, and that's 100% true. But even aside from that, I just can't imagine remotely wanting to even be with somebody who looks or acts 15, or even 18 after waiting a few years into the hypothetical. Edit, of course my most upvoted comment would be about time travel creeps. I'm just glad it's anti. I live in a college town and the students look like actual children to me now at 31. Yeah, I remember thinking I and my friends were totally and obviously adults at 18. A while ago, I'm now in my 30s, I went to a university open day and found myself looking at all the 18-year-olds there like who let all these children into this university? It is the completely opposite for me. When I was 18, I was thinking, wait, I am still just a kid. These 22-year-olds look like adults. Then I turned 22 and looked at 25-year-olds and thought of them as adults. Now I am 29 and I still don't feel like an adult. Maybe it's just because I don't behave that way. But I am also kind of happy about it. I am 40 now, with 2 kids, and I just realized my adulthood when I couldn't decide if I was more excited to get my Roborock S7 or my Ryobi electric mower W bagging to trim around my gardens in an effort to stop my husband and kid from getting lawn clippings on my mulched areas. They're both coming the same day and my excitement is beyond words. I kinda feel that. I'm 29 and I got a tiny bit excited buying shallots at the supermarket. An underrated ingredient, totally worth getting excited over. Focus on high school a bit better, try and keep in touch with my best friend at that time a bit better after she moved across town, talk with my dad more about family and stuff, apologize for being a little shit in middle school more. Figure out my major a lot faster. I'd actually focus less. I was the kid that broke myself just for a small edge into college. I really could have been more well-rounded person, with less breakdown levels of stress. I was that guy who coasted through HS with little effort to get high marks. When I got to college, I was quickly cut down by the AMT of work required that I just didn't know how to do. I think I'd take school more seriously, just to develop the necessary work ethic. Try to convince my dad to short airline stocks in about a year. Gamble a lot on sports. I'm going to guess it's generational, but I like how for some the answer is buy Bitcoin and others, like this, are gamble on sports, and I think the difference is whether you've seen Back to the Future or not. You might be onto something there. To be clear, it'd be taking the almanac approach also. I'll biff you and take all the profit and marry your mom. Got 'em. I go straight to the cops and report my father for abuse. I made the exact same comment. My father murdered the rest of my family that year. I could have stopped it if I had reported the violence. Okay, if I get the opportunity to send my mind back in time, I'll give it to you. First, I'd break up with my girlfriend at the time. 1. It wasn't a good relationship, both of us did some ducked up shit that only inexperienced people would too. I would be 25 in mind and she'd be 15. I would be 25 in mind and she'd be 15. God, holy hell, I hadn't considered that. Now, think about all the crazy popular romantic vamp fiction that has 300 plus yo dudes hanging around at schools. And try not to vomit. Never mind that somehow, a 300 yo can manage to hang around schools with nobody noticing that something ain't right. You'd think there would be questions after the first few years of that. While I don't know how vampires work in Twilight biologically, I think someone with a teenager's biology, a still growing body, with 25 years of experience would probably still have a lot of teenage tendencies. Your knowledge may be more advanced, but your actual brain chemistry would still be the same, as would your hormones as a 15-year-old. That or maybe severe mental problems from trying to store 25 years of knowledge into a 15-year-old mind, but that's going to a weird unexpected consequences of sci-fi concepts thing. The children of Neverland never grow up, in some versions of the tale. #X200B, so how does the accumulation of memory work? There's a girl in Doctor Who becomes immortal, but since she has a human brain, she doesn't have an endless amount of memory. So, she writes everything in diaries and keeps them in a library to read when she needs to. Ashildr had so much potential and we got a taste of it, but they just didn't pay it off. I am hugging my grandfather for a solid 5 minutes. My grandmother passed away today. I didn't spend enough time with her. I feel like I don't really know her. I don't know how to deal with this feeling. I take my little brother to the hospital because he has a tumor that no one knows about. I tell my dad that he shouldn't sell his company because we end up homeless. I buy Bitcoin. I live with my family and appreciate them. I go to an IHOP many years later and find the waitress. I ask her on a date. Hopefully I can keep both my families this time. They'd want to tweak a few things. Hit the pricks who messed with me. Kiss the girl when I should've. Spent more time with my old man. Little things. It'd live in existential dread that somehow, somewhere it'd mess something up in the chain of events that led to me meeting my wife and the subsequent birth of my children. Life without my children would destroy me. Utterly. I'd never thought of it before, but you'd have to remember exactly when you slung it up your wife, down to the millisecond, otherwise a different swimmer is up in there and it's a different kid at the end. It would be near impossible, because surely what you eat, when and how much, will also affect the amount and quality of sperm you produce. There are so many tiny factors, there's no way you'd end up with the same kids.